fascination with fame. If you're not careful, we fall victim to that drama as well. But Stephen was full of the Spirit, and what God used him to work miracles, and great signs and wonders was done through him. And because of that, the Sanhedrin and different other people were, they said, we cannot deny that God is using this man. So what they did was they went and got false witnesses to lie against him, to bring him into judgment. And they appointed witnesses to say that he blasphemed God and Moses and was contradictory of the law and so forth. And they went through all of this. And ultimately, they brought him before the council, which he was condemned by the council as well as the people. And they stoned Stephen on lies. But he became the first martyr of the movement. Here's where I want to tap into this right here. Paul was there because he was one of the leading persecutors of the church. And he was, the scripture says, you can read it in 6, he gave consent to the stoning. This martyrdom he gave. And he was very zealous. So much so that even he said that had I remained as I was, I would have probably been the leader of the whole Sanhedrin council, because I was more zealous than them. I was more educated. I spoke a multiplicity of languages. So I had prepared myself to be the leader, the chief over the Sanhedrin council. I was on my way somewhere. Amen. I had to talk about that for a minute, because that's what happened to me. I was on my way somewhere. I ain't got to messing with y'all for. I said I was going to retire at 55. I'm broker than ever. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have the money I've dreamed to have. They say, what happened? They got them Christian folk that God got in my pathway. Throwed my whole plan off. I can't even see what time it is. Amen. Come on, tell the Lord thank you.
Thank you, Lord.
It's in you, don't. They're on Facebook, they probably gonna put that clip off and the pastor was crying about that. Listen, that's camaraderie.
Yes.
People will cut off one clip and say, we got a pastor crying about he can't retire. He said he won't. And take it somewhere it's not meant to be. It's humor. Every humor got an element of truth, but y'all will figure that one out later. But Paul was given consent to this martyr. And they were so zealous, he was so zealous and commanded such awe and so forth that the scripture says, and I'm not going to read it all, I can just give you that they came and pulled off some of their coats and they laid it at Paul. They were Saul then, actually, feet. They laid it down like they were honoring him almost like a god. They were deifying him. He even had no problem with it. They laid there, pulled off their coats and garments, some of them, out of their robe, and laid it at his feet. They were deifying him. But something happened. When Stephen was being stoned, it would be natural for a person to retaliate and speak words of anger for what you're doing to me. You lied on me and you killed me. But instead, the scripture says that he had the face as of an angel, meaning that he showed no anger, no animosity, no hatred, no disappointment. And he looked up toward heaven and told God, saw Jesus standing at the right hand of God, he said, or he had a vision from glory where he saw Jesus standing at the right of God. And he said, don't lay this to their charge. Receive my spirit in the glory. Let me tell you something. You're not going to tell me that that don't affect you. When people, because we calculate, we expect a certain response from certain things. You know, I hit you, I expect you to hit me back, even if you don't. There's certain things you don't expect. Listen, I'm not Paul now. I ain't Stephen. I'm not Stephen, so please don't test me here. But when you expect certain things. Stephen, in such a spirit of grace, said, don't charge it to him or to them. Receive my spirit. I believe this, and there are others who agree, that this affected Paul's spirit inwardly, because it had to impress. I would expect for him to call me out, be angry and all these things, and yet this guy had to face me. So what happens when something is affect us in that way, you have two things to try to squash out the impact of what was done. You become more zealous. So he went to obtain letters to become more zealous against the church, because I believe he was trying to stamp out the effect and the impact of what Stephen had made by, you know, his display of character and power and love, whatever was power to. So God used Stephen in his martyrdom to minister to Paul. That was ministering, because he saw something that he had not witnessed to that degree. Then early in chapter 9, Paul is on his way to Damascus to receive the orders to become more zealous about persecuting the church. And then on his way, he has a vision of Jesus that appears to him, or Jesus appears to him in this vision, this divine entity that says, calls him by name. Saul, why persecute me? I'm Jesus of Nazareth, whom you persecute. It's hard for you to kick this prick, meaning it's hard for you to fight against the will of God for your life, my plan for your life. You won't win being counterproductive. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into that, but it tells us that there was something going on in Paul's spirit that God at that point, or the Lord, was addressing. So Paul must have been, from that, struggling with something, because it wasn't nothing else. The only thing he had witnessed was the martyrdom which he consented to, and the impact of how it played out was shockingly surprising. And so that is semi-addressed in the statement, but nonetheless, he says, you are to go on into Damascus, and there you'll be told what to do. He's blinded by the glory, the light of this vision. Those around, the scripture says, didn't see anybody. They heard, and then they remained covered and so forth. So they remained quiet as well. I'm almost there. So Stephen played a role. Jesus, in his appearance, played a role. He appeared to him and did what he needed to do. I'm just showing you something. Now here is the goal. God really had a plan, and I have it in the scripture there, and I'll read it in Ananias when we get to that. Ananias is going to tell Saul, to become Paul, the plan of God for his life, that was God was up to. Jesus didn't reveal that because that wasn't his role. See, your power and your greatness is in the role that you are assigned to play. Tell the Lord, thank you. I'm almost through. That's your greatness. And in here, what I'm showing you is that even Jesus played a part in this. I think I put the word up there, the conversion of Saul. I'll leave that for there until I get to the last one. Played a part. Now, ultimately, we can conclude about the worshiping and saved and so forth, but that's not my subject today. I just want to stay focused on this role playing. Let you see the power of understanding your part and playing your part, playing your role. So, God used Stephen to play a role. Then Paul is on his way to Damascus. He has a vision of Jesus who appears to him in this vision, and he also plays a role. So going on into the city, so that he's blind now. So the men took him into the city. There he found Ananias, who also had a role.
Yes.
Let me read what it says. This is what Ananias said. Lord, I've heard from many about this man, how much harm he has done to the saints in Jerusalem. And here he has authority from the chief priests to bind all who call on your name. But the Lord said to him, go, for he is a chosen vessel of mine to bear my name before Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel. That is the mission as to why God was going to save Paul and use him.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But to get there, everybody had to play a part.
Yes, Lord.
It wasn't just one person. It was actually three that God used to get Paul from one place to another.
Yes, Lord.
And everybody's role. So Stephen's martyrdom, God used to make an impact upon the spirit of Saul. Then on his way to Damascus, Jesus appears, blinds him, set him up, and talks to him about the will of God. And that you will not win being counterproductive to what God has ordained and called you to do. Then he gets to Damascus, and Ananias completes the mission and defines what he's going to spend the rest of his life doing.